world. What happened to the battle after I ran away? Who got the kingdom? Who won the war? You cannot but think of that, because you have not yet transcended action. The way is not to run away from action. The way also is not action with passion, with desire, which is why most of us act, which is why Arjuna was there in the first place. The prince was there to fight the battle, to take revenge on the villains, to take the kingdom which was rightfully his. So those are all worldly goals. Now, Krishna says that too is not action, because that action will bind you to this world. Moment we act with desire, we will get the consequences. If we overstep the limits of morality, immorality, that is called adharma in Sanskrit. And the result of that is dukkha, suffering. If we act within the bounds of morality, even then the result will be what you call sukha, happiness. But that also binds us. Swami Vivekaananda says, chains, though they be of gold, are not less strong to bind. Even good action binds you to this world. The way is to transcend action, not by inaction, not by action with desire, but Krishna teaches action without desire. When we perform action not for our selfish ends, when we perform action for the welfare of the world, because it is the thing to do, it is the right thing to do, the good thing to do, the loving thing to do, without anything to gain from it for ourselves, Krishna says that is action. He defines yoga, not tying yourself up into knots. There's a cartoon of a person in a yoga studio. He's demonstrating what he learned in the yoga studio. So he goes into a particularly complicated asana and he shows off. And the people around him are admiring. That's wonderful. And after some time he says, okay, you can stop doing it now. And then that person says, well, I didn't learn how to stop doing it. I don't know how to come out of this now. Krishna defines yoga as skill in action. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. What would you mean by skill in action? Not what we would normally think as skill in action. Doing things expertly. Shankaracharya in his commentary says, skill in action is that action which normally binds us to this world. We perform the action in such a way that that same action will set us free. That action which the ordinary person is bound by, how do you perform that so that that very action sets you free? That is skill in action. And how do you do that? You do that by performing action for the welfare of others, for action as a worship of God. You worship God in the temple with flowers and incense and food offerings and whatnot. You worship God, as we just heard, the beautiful choir sang this, the living God. Worship the living God. So worship God in your business, at home, in the school, in your family, everywhere. You can worship the living God. How do you do that? That is the theme of the Bhagavad Gita. There's also the theme of practical Vedanta. Disinterested action. I know the question which is there in your minds, and that's the question which was there in my mind also when I heard about this. See, one thing constantly nags us a little bit. It sounds good, but the thing is, why would I do anything if I don't have anything to gain out of it? I might force myself to do it because it sounds good, it's a nice idea, but still, would there be any real motive power behind it? Would my heart be in it if I don't really want anything out of it? So I had this question. And there's a very senior swami who has passed away now, Swami Ananyananda. He was in Delhi, Ramakrishna Mission. I was a new brahmachari, a novice. I had joined, it was 21 years ago. And I was visiting New Delhi ashram, and I was escorting the old swami. He had a bad knee. So I was escorting him from the temple to his room in the evening, just before meditation. And as we walked down, I asked this question. Why should people do anything if they don't have anything to gain from it? If they don't have any interest in it? He didn't say anything. As we walked into his room, he turned around, and just before closing the door, he looked at me and smiled and said this, I can never forget it. It's a solution to this, the answer to this question. So precise. Just a phrase. He smiled at me and he said, disinterested action, my boy, not uninterested action. In English, if you look at the dictionary, lack of interest, there are two words, disinterested and uninterested. Uninterested means I have no interest in it. I mean, I do it in a lackadaisical manner just because I have to do it, I'm being pushed to do it. I don't really like doing it. There's no enthusiasm. Disinterested action is a very interesting word. It means the party who has no personal motive or interest in it. He may have all the enthusiasm, but nothing personal to gain from it. No personal axe to grind there. That is disinterested action. So there can be tremendous enthusiasm, and there should be. There should be love and enthusiasm in service, but no particular personal gain from it. In fact, we should make sure that we are not gaining something personal from it. So that is the idea. Another question. Swami, that's okay for you. You are a monk, so you don't have a salary or something like that. You don't take anything for your action. But we work in the world. So when a teacher in a school asked me, I teach and I get my salary from that and I need my salary. So if I do that work and I take the salary, doesn't it become work with desire? And the answer is very simple. What is the purpose behind that work? Is the purpose the money itself? You need the money. When you work, you will get money. Why not? We need money too. You'll find out when you leave. You're encouraged to donate. So that does not make it work with desire. What makes it work with desire is the attitude behind it. And that brings us to a very interesting thing I learned from a swami in Haridwar, on the bank of the Ganges. He said something very beautiful. He said, in our lives, in human life, there are three streams. In Hindi, he said, teen dhara hai. Three streams flow through us all the time. The stream of knowledge, jnana, the stream of action, karma, and another word he used, a Sanskrit word, bhavadhara. Bhava can be inadequately translated as attitude. So, knowledge, work, and attitude. He said, I am not interested in what you know. I am not interested in what you do. Tell me what is your bhava, what is your attitude. And then to explain, he said, what makes a difference in spiritual life is not what you know. It's not even what you do. It's why you do it. What is the purpose behind action? And there's some beautiful examples. A person may be a pandit, may be learned in the scriptures. And he may be doing this very religious work of worshipping in a temple, maybe a pujari, a priest in a temple. So the work that he is doing is religious. His learning, his knowledge is also scriptural, religious. But suppose when he is performing the worship, all he's thinking about is, so how much will the collection be today? And with that money, I have to put a new roof on my house and put my children into a better school. Now the bhava, the stream of the attitude, the stream there, it is flowing straight to the world. He said in Hindi, uska bhava samsar ki or hai. His bhava is towards samsara, towards the world. What will he get? His knowledge is religious. His actions are religious. Bhava is samsara. What will he attain? He will attain samsara. He will attain samsara. From birth to death he will go. The Upanishad says, mrityu samrityum apnoti. He goes from death to death. And there was this an example, a real example, not a hypothetical example. There was this person who is to sweep the Holy Mother's house in Jairambati. And I have heard this story from a senior Swami.